Kurinji Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
Kurinji Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.in.
In continuation to the last class, in this class we start with problem number 13. In this class we are going to discuss 3 problems, 13, 14 and 15, so that you can complete this chapter, electromagnetic waves. Okay, right. See the problem number 13 here. Use the formula lambda m into T is equal to 0.29 centimeters Kelvin, because you know what is the unit of wavelength and what is the unit of temperature. To obtain the characteristic temperature ranges for different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. For different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, that's why what I am saying is here the formula whatever they have given, that is what lambda into lambda m into T is equal to 0.29 cm K, that is what centimeter Kelvin. By using this formula we have to obtain the characteristic temperature ranges for different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. For different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum means you know very well gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, UV rays, and then visible rays, infrared, microwaves, radio waves, right, like that. You know, for these different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum we have to obtain the characteristic temperature values, temperature ranges values. Okay, right. And in continuation to that, what do the numbers that you obtain tell you? What do the numbers that you obtain tell you? Because it is what corresponding wavelength. So when you know the corresponding wavelength and by having this formula, see what is T value? T is equal to 0.29 cm centimeter, 0.29 centimeter Kelvin by lambda m. See, that is what wavelength we know, and by substituting the wavelength in the given formula, you can find out the temperature. No, you can find out the temperature. That is what we are going to do now. And see the answer. I can say one point here, that is what, for a body at temperature T produces a continuous spectrum. For a body at temperature T produces a continuous spectrum. Okay, right. Now lambda into m, lambda m T is equal to 0.29 centimeter Kelvin. Okay. See, if you convert this into meters, that is 0.0029, 0.0029 meters Kelvin. Okay. For a black body, the wavelength corresponding to maximum intensity. For a black body, the wavelength corresponding to maximum intensity of radiation is given by Wien's law. Okay, right. This is what we can call it as Wien's law. Wien's law, right. See here, we are writing T as a subject to calculate the temperature value or the number, temperature number corresponding to the a particular wavelength. For example, if you take gamma rays, the corresponding wavelength will be 10 to the power of minus 12 meters. Corresponding temperature is 29 into 10 power 8. Here gamma rays, next X-rays, first gamma rays and then X-rays. X-rays means 10 to the power of minus 10 and here 29 into 10 power 6. Ultraviolet rays, UV rays, it is 3 into 10 power minus 7 that is 10 power 4. Here visible, that is 5 into 10 to the power of minus 7, 6 into 10 to the power of 3. Next infrared, 3 into 10 power minus 5, here it is 10 square. The corresponding temperature is 10 square, that is what, 100 Kelvin. See in the bracket they mentioned Kelvin, it is what in meters, and the notation we are using for wavelength is lambda, and temperature means obviously capital T. Radio waves, the wavelength is 1 meter and the corresponding temperature value is 29 into 10 to the power of minus 4 Kelvin. See, these are all the values we need not remember. Just if you remember the Wien's formula, that is lambda m into T is equal to 0.29. That is what they have given here, 0.29 centimeter Kelvin. You can find out the temperature value with the help of this. That is what, same thing, just we are writing T as a subject. In place of lambda m, we are going to substitute these values one by one, so that we are getting these values one by one continuously, right? That is a corresponding temperature regarding this wavelengths, okay, right. Now, after completion of this, what I want to say is the numbers, these numbers tell us the temperature ranges required to produce electromagnetic radiations of different wavelengths. These numbers, see here, see the light, see the red light where I am showing. These numbers tell us the temperature ranges required, the temperature ranges required to produce electromagnetic radiations of different wavelengths. Full stop. See, after completion of this table, that is what, after calculating the corresponding temperature numbers for the corresponding wavelengths, what I am saying is these temperature ranges required to produce electromagnetic radiations of different wavelengths. To produce, for example, to produce visible radiation, what is the required temperature? 6000 Kelvin. Okay. At the same time, we can also say one more point, that is a source of lower temperature will also produce this wavelength, but not with maximum intensity, right? He is saying that a source of lower temperature, not only 6000 Kelvin, even lower than 6000 Kelvin also produces visible radiation, but with low intensity. In our previous class, we discussed one problem. That is what happens to the intensity of light as you are moving away from the source, right? Intensity will be decreased. So just you link that point to this point, and here, okay, there is no, that is what, there is no complete coincidence, but what I am saying is the relation, the variation of intensity with respect to distance and the variation of intensity with respect to temperature. That's what I want to ask you to understand, right? That is what. So in this problem, they have given one formula. With the help of this formula, we found out the temperature ranges, otherwise the numbers, the temperature numbers, right, regarding the corresponding wavelength values or regarding the corresponding wavelength numbers with the help of this formula and this one also. This is what, both are same, no? Just we converted into meters and we have written T as a subject. So T is equal to 0.0029 by lambda m Kelvin. Okay, right. And from this table, I can say that, so these numbers, the temperature numbers required to produce electromagnetic radiation of different wavelengths like this. And one more point is, for example, if you take visible light, see what is the corresponding temperature? 6000 Kelvin. So not only 6000 Kelvin, even lower than 6000 Kelvin also can produce visible, but with less intensity. Right, next problem, that is 14th problem. Given below are some famous numbers associated with electromagnetic radiation in different contexts in physics. Given below are some famous numbers associated with electromagnetic radiation in different contexts in physics. State the part of the electromagnetic spectrum to which each belongs to. Right. So here they have given 5 things, A, B, C, D, E. In one place they have given centimeters, in one place they have given frequency, in one place they have given temperature, in one place they have given angstrom unit, in another place they have given energy, that is what, kilo electron volt. So whatever it may be, he is asking what is the corresponding, right? what is the part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we have to find out. Okay, we'll go one by one. First I am going to take 21 centimeters. Actually 21 centimeters means it is the wavelength emitted by atomic hydrogen in interstellar space. Actually 21 centimeters is the wavelength emitted by atomic hydrogen in interstellar space. Okay, coming to the answer, see this 21 centimeters is corresponding to radio wave. 21 centimeters is corresponding to radio wave. See here we also need to say it is a short wavelength end, radio wave of short wavelength end, because electromagnetic spectrum means whatever the part of the spectrum you are taking which is a wavelength range. Similarly the temperature range, okay, like that, the frequency range, like that. So here 21 centimeters correspond to radio wave short wavelength end, radio waves of short wavelength end. Next B, 1057 megahertz, 1057 megahertz. This is actually, this is the frequency. 1057 megahertz is the frequency. It is the frequency of radiation arising from two close energy levels in hydrogen known as Lamb shift, right? So 1057 megahertz is the frequency of radiation arising from two close energy levels in hydrogen known as Lamb shift actually. So if you go to the answer, you know this 1057, 1057 megahertz frequency is corresponding to radio wave, that is what high frequency end, radio wave of high frequency and high frequency or short wavelength end. Next C, that is what 2.7 Kelvin, 2.7 Kelvin, right? Okay, actually this 2.7 Kelvin is the temperature associated with the isotropic radiation, temperature associated with the isotropic radiation filling all space, thought to be relic of the Big Bang origin of the universe, right? So as simple as such, you can say that this is the temperature where we can experience, means regarding the Big Bang origin of the universe, regarding the Big Bang origin of the universe, you can experience this temperature, that is 2.7 Kelvin, right? Next, see this 2.7 Kelvin is correspond to, that is microwave region of the electromagnetic spectrum. How can we found, means see by knowing the temperature and substitute in the Wien's formula, lambda m into T is equal to 0.29 centimeter Kelvin. So if you substitute in that formula, so that you are getting wavelength, that is 0.11 centimeters. So that here, which is corresponding to the microwave region of the electromagnetic spectrum, microwave region of the electromagnetic spectrum. Next D, 5890 angstrom unit to 5896 angstrom unit. This particular range corresponds to yellow part of the visible region of the electromagnetic spectrum. Yellow part, because visible region means that is what there are different colors, no, I mean different wavelengths, no. So this particular, this is what 5890 angstrom unit to the 5896 angstrom unit corresponds to yellow part of the visible region of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, right. Next E, 14.4 kilo electron volt. This is what energy. Kilo means 10 power 3, no. 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules, no. Right. So finally here we are writing, okay, we have to be in a position to write kilo electron volt into in terms of joules, because joule is the SI unit of energy, and then Planck's constant, because both should be in SI while substituting in the given formula. So if you find the frequency, that is nu is equal to E by H, nu is equal to E by H. Here we are getting 3.5 into 10 to the power of 18 H, 3.5 into 10 to the power of 18 H. This is the frequency lies in the X-ray or soft gamma ray region of the electromagnetic spectrum. So based on this frequency you can judge it. This frequency lies in the X-ray or soft gamma ray region of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, right. Next question. See this question, that is what question number 15. It is a theory question, right? So first I will read you the question and then we will go for answer one by one. So you please be concentrate, don't deviate your concentration, because it is application to daily life, applications of electromagnetic waves, and one by one. That is what first I will explain you the question and then we will go for answer. See here. Long distance radio broadcast use short wave bands. Long distance radio broadcast use short wave bands. Why? That is the question. So how can we answer? See here. See the reason. See, long distance radio broadcast use short wave bands means the reason is the radio waves of short bands are easily reflected back to the earth by the ionosphere. So please keep in mind, see the short wave bands are easily reflected back to the earth by ionosphere. That is the reason we are using short wave bands for long distance radio broadcasting. Long distance radio broadcasting. Okay, right. Next question. See this. It is necessary to use satellites for long distance TV transmission. It is necessary to use satellites for long distance TV transmission, right? He is asking, is it necessary or not? That he is asking. Okay, observe carefully. See, regarding the TV transmission, television transmission, TV signals being of high frequency, right? Actually, we are using TV signals of being high frequency are not reflected by the ionosphere. Also, and one more point, the ground wave transmission is possible only up to a limited range. Also, ground wave transmission is possible only up to a limited range. Okay, that is why satellites are used for long distance TV transmission. Here I am saying two important points. Why it is necessary to use satellites for long distance TV transmission means the first basic cause is because of being a high frequency regarding the TV signals, right? TV signals being of high frequency are not reflected by the ionosphere. This is the one important cause. And next one is the ground wave transmission is possible only up to a limited range. The ground wave transmission, right? So the name itself indicates the ground wave transmission. The ground wave transmission is possible only up to a limited range. Because of these two reasons, it is necessary to use satellites for long distance TV transmission. Try to understand the question also. So distance also important. When you are going for one particular application, that is what the ability and the distance up to which it has to transmit also important. Next question, that is what C. Optical and radio telescopes are built on the ground, but X-ray astronomy is possible only from satellites orbiting the Earth. Why? Optical and radio telescopes are built on the ground. Is it correct or not? Yes, in the chapter of ray optics we studied what is the astronomical telescope and what is the terrestrial telescope, right? So obviously, generally optical and radio telescopes are built on the ground, but X-ray astronomy is possible only from satellites orbiting the Earth. So why? What is the reason? Okay, see here. Actually, if you observe carefully, the Earth's atmosphere is transparent to visible light and radio waves. The Earth's atmosphere is transparent to visible light and radio waves, but it absorbs X-rays. This is the fact we have to keep in mind always, and here it is very important point. The Earth's atmosphere is transparent to visible light and radio waves, but it absorbs X-rays. Okay? X-ray astronomy is possible only from satellites orbiting the Earth. These satellites orbit at a height of 36,000 kilometers, where the atmosphere is very thin and X-rays are not absorbed. So if I want to, if I want to compress the answer and to give in a simple way, here the reason is Earth's atmosphere absorbs X-rays. That is the only single line answer, right? So regarding the C, just now I have given 4 lines of information. If you want to compress that, and if you want to say only one sentence or in one word answer like that, the reason is Earth's atmosphere absorbs X-rays. Earth's atmosphere absorbs X-rays. That's why X-ray astronomy is possible only from satellites orbiting the Earth. Okay, and moreover, these satellites orbit at a height of 36,000 kilometers, where the atmosphere is very thin and X-rays are not absorbed. You just imagine 36,000 kilometers height, right? Orbiting. The satellites orbit at a height of 36,000 kilometers, means just imagine. Okay, right. Next question. That is what question number D. The small ozone layer on top of the stratosphere. The small ozone layer on top of the stratosphere is crucial for human survival. Why? As the small ozone layer on top of the stratosphere is crucial for human survival. Why? Okay, so this is what already you know. For this question already you know the answer, right? From lower classes onwards we are studying, and it is what regarding the pollution, regarding the chlorofluorocarbons, right? So though we are we are worrying more about the damage of ozone layer, right? So why we are more worrying about the damaging of ozone layer means that is the answer to this question. Ozone layer absorbs ultraviolet radiation from the sun and prevents it from reaching the earth and causing damage to life, right? See, ozone layer absorbs ultraviolet radiation so that it protects us to expose ultraviolet radiation much. Suppose if we expose ultraviolet radiation, see the biological point of view, what happens to human body means basically it causes skin cancer. It causes skin cancer, right? So we need little exposure is okay, no problem, but we should not expose much to the ultraviolet radiation. Okay, that's why here because of this pollution, because of this chlorofluorocarbons, and because of this pollutant particles, if we damage the ozone layer, it is a big problem to the human entity, right? Okay, that is only he is saying. So as simple as such, what is the duty of ozone layer means it absorbs ultraviolet radiation from the sun and prevents it from reaching the earth and causing damage to the life. Next question, that is what next EM. If the earth did not have an atmosphere, would its average surface temperature be higher or lower than what it is now, right? Very interesting question. Just imagine, imagination is required here. If the earth did not have an atmosphere, you just imagine. So what is atmosphere? The air surrounding to us is simply called as atmosphere. Suppose if it is not there, actually it is the imagination point of view, because air is a mixture of gases, right? So for our survival we need oxygen, right? That's why if atmosphere is not there means we may die. That will be different situation. But what he is asking is, if the earth did not have an atmosphere, what about the temperature? Would its average surface temperature be higher or lower than what it is now? Okay, see here, the earth radiates infrared waves which are reflected by the gases in the lower atmosphere. Okay, the earth, so whatever we are seeing nowadays, so the air molecules are surroundings like a, that is what suppose earth is in spherical shape, no, right? So around this earth the air molecules are distributed, right, up to certain distance. Afterwards that will be different. So afterwards we can't expect after certain distance or certain height we can't expect atmosphere. That is the reason right? When we are going for space journey, we are going to carry oxygen cylinder, right? That will be different discussion. But what I am saying is here, if the earth did not have an atmosphere, if the earth did not have an atmosphere, what happens to the surface temperature of earth, whether it is increased or decreased? Means we can say that the earth radiates infrared waves which are reflected by the gases in the lower atmosphere. In the lower atmosphere, this phenomenon is called as greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect keeps the earth warm, keeps the earth warm. So if the earth did not have atmosphere, its average temperature would be low due to the absence of greenhouse effect. Due to the absence of greenhouse effect. Okay. Simply the answer is lower. But why? Means because of the absence of greenhouse effect. What is the greenhouse effect? Means radiation, right? Radiating infrared waves which are reflected by the gases in the lower atmosphere regarding the earth or by the earth. Next question, last question, see this. Some scientists have predicted that a global nuclear war on the earth would be followed by a severe nuclear winter, right? Severe nuclear, observe carefully. Some scientists have predicted that a global nuclear war on the earth would be followed by a severe nuclear winter with a devastating effect on life on the earth. What might be the basis of this prediction? What might be the basis of this prediction? Okay, right. See here. See, he is saying that the clouds produced by a global nuclear war would perhaps cover substantial parts of the sky. Perhaps covers substantial parts of the sky, preventing solar light from reaching many parts of the globe. I'll repeat once again, the clouds produced by a global nuclear war, the clouds produced by a global nuclear war would perhaps cover substantial parts of the sky, preventing solar light from reaching many parts of the globe. From reaching many parts of the globe, right? Full stop. This is what we are calling it as, this would cause a nuclear winter. This would cause a nuclear winter. Okay, right. So this is what about these three problems 13, 14 and 15 in this class. In our next class, we will continue with the next continuation chapter or next continuation topic. Thank you.